How has Tiger King changed your business? Welcome to the latest episode of Over a Pint. This week, I'm not actually anywhere but my own office because I don't get to do these in person anymore. So this time we're on Zoom and I have Karlyn. So Karlyn, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone who doesn't know who you are?
Hi, I'm Karlyn Eacrett. I work with Keller Williams Real Estate Associates out of Mississauga. My primary markets are Burlington, Oakville, and Hamilton. And today I'm drinking White Claw because I'm not a beer drinker. But this is probably like the most basic bitch drink that you could come across. It's delicious. Highly recommend.
A Starbucks cup if you like really wanted to complete it, but that's
Yeah.
But you do gain extra respect with the Michael Jordan thing behind, so it kind of evens out.
Yeah, I got MJ with me here. This is in my basement, so yeah, MJ is gonna be joining us as well.
I'm a fan. And I'm drinking Mill Street Organic because that's what I had in my fridge. I didn't go out separately to get something this time.
So, yeah, I had to run out and get these because I'm like, shit, what am I gonna drink? I usually drink wine. It's way too early for wine. It's only like 3 o'clock, so.
Actually, I think you're the first White Claw on the show. Like,
really?
Almost everything else. Like we've done wine, like we've got kale smoothies, water, apple juice.
Water.
Some people are recovering alcoholics. They're not gonna.
So. Okay, sure. Fair. They get a pass.
Yeah, like there are people where I like. As much as I like the alcohol angle of the show, I'm also not like you have to drink.
Right. Yeah.
You but yeah. So how long have you been in real estate?
This is actually my 5th year. Yeah, the starting of this year was my 5th year, which is crazy to me. Doesn't seem like it was that long ago. You know, some days it feels like it's been forever, and other days it feels like it, I'm newly licensed. I don't know at what point you aren't considered, new anymore. I don't know.
I would say it's whenever you're at the point where you start getting referrals from past clients, or when past clients start coming back.
Yeah, I would agree with that actually. And I just about 6 months ago sold the same house for the second time, and I actually was kind of thinking about it at that point, and I'm like, maybe this is where I transitioned from being new into being not new. I wouldn't say like super experienced, but not new.
I think that's like a fair benchmark of like I'm now, because like that's when like businesses you also often see like talking to people when they really start taking off for a lot is like keep getting the new clients you were before, but then adding back in all your old ones again. But yeah, so for me, I'm 5 years just sell homes in like 3 weeks.
Oh, so nice.
I guess I started this right around when you got your license.
Yeah, you must have. I think I started. It was like the first of the year, like January 1st.
So both as an agent and just sell homes, and it was not a coincidence. We're both July, like mid-July.
Oh, interesting.
They only were like, I don't think with my license, like it was just, that's when I finished my courses and got it. I didn't plan it. And then I went to the Calgary Stampede, and then as soon as I got back, I started selling. And then, yeah, it worked out.
Got to give yourself a break in between, right?
What were you doing before real estate?
A mishmash of things. Primarily, I was a social worker. I had worked as a server for a long time. I worked at Earl's for like 6 years, doing that. So I've kind of been all over. I've also done like event planning. I used to do big weddings and conferences and stuff like that. I've also worked with, special needs children, special needs adults. It's still kind of all over the map, to be honest with you. When I did kind of transition into it, I was a full-time social worker. And I hated that gig. I hated it. I mean, like, huge shout out to people who can do that. I was not one of them. It just was really difficult to see and hear some of the things that I saw and heard, and it took a really heavy toll on me emotionally. So that was ultimately the deciding factor of like, okay, I gotta, I went to school for this, I worked hard to get here, and now that I'm here, I'm not really loving it, So that's where I decided to take a different route, and this is where I ended up.
So what made you go from that to real estate specifically?
Um, I don't know. I think it was kind of, at the time I was pregnant with my first son. I knew that I knew I didn't want to go back to social work, so that was already off the table. I knew that going back to serving, like late night type of stuff, even daytime, I knew it wasn't going to be practical having a child at that point. And I kind of felt like that was, I was past that. Now that I'm going to be a mom, I don't want to be in that environment as much. So um, I was pregnant at the time. We were about to list our townhouse for sale, and we just kind of my husband and I were just sort of talking about it casually, and we were like, well, I wonder what it would take to get a real estate license, even if it's just because at the time we had investment properties as well, and we were thinking, it might be a good idea just to have, which I think a lot of people have that mentality when they go into it, like, even if it's just for myself or my close friends and family, and it just evolved from there. So I took the courses. I took them pretty quickly, actually. Like I really condensed it just to get through it. And yeah, it very quickly turned into a full-time thing. When I first started, I had stayed on at Earl's as the cash girl, so I did things like payroll, dealt with all of that aspect. So I stayed there initially, and I kind of was just doing it part time, and then that quickly evolved and kind of got to the point where I'm like, okay, I need to jump ship on this and put everything that I have into real estate, making it work. So yeah, that's what I did. It was not really some huge aha moment or anything like that. It just kind of naturally, I guess, progressed that way.
So how'd you get your first deal?
My first deal was my townhouse. I sold that. That was an interesting experience because I knew nothing, and I literally listed my house the same day I was licensed. Like I knew nothing about nothing, but it sold in 24 hours, which was great. Um, and after that, my first deal came from a friend of mine, actually, and she had already decided what house she wanted. She knew I was new. She wanted to kind of give me a shot, and that was interesting because that was multiple offers. We were up against 5 others, including the listing agent had an offer in, and we won. So that was exciting. So I think, honestly, kind of early on, those things, like I found excitement in that, selling the house in 24 hours. I'm like, wow, holy shit. Like maybe I can do this, because you don't come out of the gate fully prepared. You don't come out of the gate thinking, I'm going to crush it.
Yeah.
I had reservations for sure. So after that, that kind of like builded my momentum. And then, the multiple offer thing that built my momentum. And then from there, it just became like almost, just trying to do better and learn as much as I could. And I leaned on a lot of other agents during that time as well. But yeah, it was good. It was a good way to start out of the gate, I think.
Nice and smooth. So what do you do now to get new business?
I do a few different things. Mostly just the other thing that I learned kind of early on was that I'm not a door knocker or a cold caller type. I tried them. I have never really had success with them. And actually, something my broker told me kind of changed my mentality around that. And he just said, Karlyn, lead gen is not always you in an office calling 100 people. That's not always what lead gen is, and you need to kind of get that out of your mind. Lead gen is, networking with your neighbors, taking your kids to the park, being a part of your children's school, being a face in the community that people can recognize, holding community events, networking really. And he's like, all of these things can be lead gen. And so I, once you said that, it kind of clicked for me, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't have to cold call people every day. I can build my network and build my database through other means that are, maybe more, I don't want to say easier, but something that I enjoy more. I just didn't want to spend, hours and hours a day doing stuff that I didn't like.
Yeah, cold
So
calling sucks.
it sucks. Like, I think even people that do it will say that it sucks. Door knocking, yeah, is a bit easier, especially if you have like a listing or something and you kind of have, but the cold door knock, not for me. I mean, I'm fine with like circle prospecting on a listing, which I do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just kind of cut the fat and just decided, I hate these things and they're not even working out for me. If they were working out, I probably would have learned to just deal with it, but they weren't working out. So I just kind of cut them out, stick to the stuff that I do know and that comes naturally to me and is a bit more enjoyable.
So which would you say is like your most consistent source of new business then?
Honestly, at this point, like we were talking about, a lot of it is repeat and referral. I try to really stay tight with my database, so I do get quite a bit from that. Well, community-based things, in the area that I live in, Burlington, is my farm area. So I do farm it, but not in the traditional sense with, flyers and stuff. Like, I don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm trying now to focus more on community events and meeting people in my community. So last December we did photos with Santa. That went over really well. We were planning to do another one this summer, like an ice cream social type of thing, but with COVID, I don't know how that's going to go. But I also have like my community groups. So I admin on some community groups and really just try to come from a place of value and kind of a hassle-free real estate agent that if you have a question, you can just ask it and you can know that I'm not going to be pounding down your door, calling you every single day, asking you when you're going to sell. So that's kind of where I'm trying to position myself, is just to be a community leader, I guess, or a familiar face in the very least to my community.
So with like COVID and everything, how has Tiger King changed your business?
Remember when Tiger King was like the weirdest thing in 2020?
Yeah. And then it really just went off the deep end.
It snowballed. Yeah. I mean,
I think my favorite like thing is when I love Twitter. It's actually my favorite platform. Is they were talking about murder hornets.
Mm-hmm.
It was like right after like all the protests and everything started. Everyone's like, "What happened to murder hornets?" And it was like a writer for one of the big sitcoms retweeted that with, "Oh no, that was just a filler episode." I was like, "Yes, that is exactly it." But it was like this year, Kobe died. Like,
yeah,
like a lot has happened. And
a lot has happened. We lost Kobe. That whole his daughter, like that whole thing was so tragic.
Yeah.
Then we had, COVID hit, obviously. I mean, it's been a year. But I miss the times when Tiger King and web forms were like the biggest issues at hand,
Yeah, those were good times. They're simpler times.
Yeah, much simpler times. Yeah, I'm just throwing myself into my work and my family, spending more time with my family. And I don't know, it's actually, this COVID thing has been interesting because it's made me realize a lot of things about how I spend my time and where I want to spend it and with who.
Yeah.
I think everyone is going through a little bit, kind of just reevaluating what's important in life. And so I think if nothing else, good comes of this. That's the silver lining, I think, for a lot of people.
The personal or business side, like, are there any changes you're like, this is definitely going to happen when things open up again?
Yeah.
Like, do you see any big change? So are you gonna any change, whether it's personal or business, like things that are like you've started doing this or stopped doing during kind of the quarantine stuff? What do you think will stay once it's open again?
For me personally?
Yeah, or business, either one or both.
I mean, I think for me, I realized that and this is kind of a hard thing for me to admit, to be honest with you, but I think I realized that I was not spending enough time with my kids.
Yeah.
And I was prioritizing my business and my work over that. And I can see that now, like just in my kids and their behavior and the time that I do get to spend with them and how close, we've kind of become as a family, my husband included, kind of through this time. And I think moving forward, I'm going to I need to realign my priorities, and my family and my kids need to be at the forefront of that. And, I just think moving forward, even, okay, so my kids are gone right now. They're at their grandparents and they have been for 3 days, and they're coming home today, but I'm really missing them a lot more than I think I would have before. So I think I've just had really a mind shift with that, and how important they are and my family is. And I think moving forward, it's just going to be a matter of prioritizing. And I mean, that doesn't mean, I'm going to be home all the time, but, when it comes to time with my kids, I need to learn to protect that more. So I think going forward, I'll be protecting that time just like I would with, a client appointment. Just protecting that time and being there and being present with them, because they're only little ones. And, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to go out there and build a really big business, and, hopefully eventually be on autopilot, and then I can spend time with my kids. But that's, what's the point of doing that when you miss everything in between,
There's a good friend of mine who like so he's my age, but he had a baby like years and years before me. And he was saying like that 2 to like 5 years old is like his favorite stretch. So I was like, all right, so that's the time I really want to make sure I'm there. So like I early kind of made that switch of like I have now like some that non-negotiable time. And
Yeah.
like it's really nice. And like what I found, like when I was first nervous about it, like I didn't tell people. Like, I was just kind of like I'd block it off and just like pretend I wasn't available. Now
Yeah.
I'm just like, no, that hour to that hour is just my kid's time. Like,
Yeah.
and I find 99% of people respect that. Like,
I think so too.
zero pushback.
Yeah, and I think, even like at the beginning when we were talking about, finding the kind of clients that you want to work with, like it really comes back to that. If, a lot of my clients have kids and they value their time with their kids just like I do. I mean, we're only human, right? It's, yeah, you're right. Like even just saying, I can't, that's my family time, or, usually what I do is I just say I have another appointment. But that's a good
That's
point
what I
that you.
used to do. That was like my original, oh, I have a call booked, I have whatever booked. And I'm like, no, like for me, it's like every night guaranteed 5 to 7 p.m. is just kid time. Like
Yeah.
I might have my phone on me, but like I probably won't even answer you. I'll leave you on red.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
the only time like that is the kid time because like they're in bed between 6:37 every night, and like I get back to them after. If it can't wait for that stretch, then
Yeah, yeah, totally. And I think in business, I mean, not just in real estate, but in any business, you have to realize that not everything is an emergency.
yeah.
And,
I think that
uh,
also comes with like for instance you too. Like once your business gets going and you're pretty confident that you have a next paycheck coming, it's a lot easier to say this than at the beginning when you're like, I don't even know when my next showing is going to be or something like that. So for like newer agents, I understand the struggle there. Um,
yeah,
so I think like part of it is like once you kind of get secure in your career, it's way easier to make that shift too.
yeah, yeah, I would agree with that too. Yeah, I think, when you're first in business, it is a grind, it is a hustle. Like I don't think there's any way around that part. I mean, of course you can try and protect your time as much as possible, but you're right. Until you get to that point, it's difficult to say that to people, and you're afraid to, and it's, yeah, you're looking for your next deal, right? So
I got lucky, like at least with the beginning to just sell homes, like because I hated doing it, but I was doing like the 16-hour days, and
yeah,
like if I didn't have my wife who like picked up the slack on the home side, there was no way that would have worked. Whereas
yeah,
like now it's flipped the other way during COVID. Like until we got a nanny, I was doing like 2 days a week basically because I had
yeah,
like 2 and 3-year-old all day with me. Now we have a nanny though. game changing. You
Yeah,
start working again.
we did the same thing. As soon as Ford announced that you could have a babysitter, I'm like, we're hiring a nanny
Yeah,
right away.
best
But
move.
yeah, oh, totally. But yeah, my kids go back to daycare in another week and a half, like their regular home daycare. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think it'll bring some normalcy, like not just to my husband and I, but to the kids, right? Like they haven't seen their friends and it
Yeah,
sucks.
we're not sending ours back yet. Um, we're waiting for, so like they're not at a home daycare, which I think we would have been more comfortable sending to a home daycare. Like
Yeah,
we had one of those, like we actually loved the daycare center, but it was huge. So we weren't quite, and like they were also like even specifically saying like if you can keep your kids back, like because they're doing it in waves of like how many they allow back at once. They're like, please leave it for people who like absolutely need it. And for us, like the nanny was only an extra like $200 or $300 a month compared to daycare. So
yeah,
like, so we don't need it.
yeah,
Like we'll just keep it, and it's nice. Like I actually love having them around where I can like go down for lunch and just have lunch with them,
yeah,
and then be able to still come back up and work. Whereas before it'd be like you'd have lunch and then they'd be crawling on your back while you're trying to work. Doesn't
yeah.
quite happen.
No, up until we got the nanny, that was me too. Like I'd be on a call just like this, and you'd hear them in the background. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, that's just my kids. I mean, everybody at that point was in the same
Yeah.
boat, but
I got to a point where almost like I just stopped apologizing and I just like invite my daughter to sit on my lap and
yeah,
be like, this is Hannah or Emma, say hi. And people
yeah,
are pretty forgiving of it, but like it definitely was a really weird kind of transition. But it was just like the thing, right? Like everyone's in the same boat for the most part.
yeah,
I think like once kind of people got used to that, it's a lot easier. But yeah, like it's weird to like get back into routine. But like our oldest is supposed to go to kindergarten in September. Now we don't know what's gonna happen there. So
yeah,
who knows?
yeah. I don't know what's gonna happen there either. Our yeah, our youngest is supposed to start JK, and our oldest is going into grade 1. But yeah, I don't know how that's gonna look.
So you're pretty active in Facebook groups. I know you mentioned on the community side, but then also you are on the agent side. Um, so before we get into like a couple of questions, like how many agent groups are you in roughly? Do you think?
I think like 6 maybe.
And how many are you active in?
I'm most active in real estate hacks. I will occasionally chime in or join a discussion in other groups, but primarily real estate hacks.
So what do you find is like the value for you to be in hacks?
I mean, referrals, obviously that's the biggest thing, right? Agent to agent referrals, for sure. But I think really just being part of a community that you can kind of lean on when you need to. Like anytime that I sort of figure out, a hack or an easier way to do things, I always like to share it. I think it's nice in this business because you're a bit of a lone wolf most of the time, to have that community that you can rely on if you have a question, um, or to share, something that you've learned that's going to benefit somebody else. I love that idea of, we're, even though it's full of my competitors, right? It's, I think, still more beneficial to share with others rather than, have the mentality of like, I'm just going to keep all my little hacks and my little secrets and tips to myself. But we've got a lot of top contributors in that group too, who really provide value. And I think, whether you're a new agent or very experienced, there's always something to learn in the group. And I mean, realistically, the referrals are a nice byproduct of that. But the point really is to share with each other and, to make connections. Like I know I've made a lot of really great friends from there, who I talk to outside of the group, who I lean on outside of the group, and vice versa, I'm sure. So, yeah, I mean, obviously referrals is they're great and they do come from the group. But I think overall it's the community,
Yeah.
and feeling like you can have people that you can trust and you can ask questions without, without judgment or scrutiny or anything like that. And honestly, just to have people who are like-minded, who are business-minded, and who are dealing with the same issues or, things that they're trying to figure out. It's all the same, right? We're all kind of in the same boat. So it's.
So I was curious on like Facebook groups for real estate agents. It's hard, and I notice this is a challenge for a lot of people of like separating people who actually know what they talk about and people who just talk and pretend they know what they're talking about. Like, do you have, for people who are active in groups, a good way to try to like figure that out?
I have not figured a good way to figure that out. I have not at all. I think at a certain point, you can decipher whose opinion or whose answer is most valid. Just based on people who are active in the group and people who contribute and knowing that. I mean, you've got people like Brian Madigan, who is a huge force.
Basically, any law question is perfect for him.
And I mean, got the Brian Madigans of the group, and there are quite a few of them who do provide correct answers or take the time to research. So I mean, you got to be careful with that as well. You got to know your source, right? Who's telling you this? And once you get active, I find in those groups and you start to engage with people, you learn really quickly, whose opinion has weight and maybe doesn't, or someone who's just kind of shown up and they're a new member, they're not familiar with the format. So you just kind of gotta take it with a grain of salt, give some weight to the ones that are top contributors.
So you also, like, I've seen you a couple conferences, but I don't think that many we've actually met in person. Like, do you go to many conferences in the industry or no? No, I don't. I've actually only been to one, and that one was the one that we met at. I don't think I gave them my view of conferences has been that I'm like, why do I want to go network with a bunch of other agents? You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather network with like potential clients. But going to that one, which was Buzz, I believe, that was it did change my perspective a little bit, because here I am online trying to build a relationship with these agents, but a lot of us have never met in person, and it's just kind of nice to like see somebody in person, make that connection with them and have a conversation. Because as much as everything is online, and especially now with COVID, like, we can't forget that in person, face to face is always the best way to meet people and to network. So that's literally why I do my conference every year, is just for that opportunity to get people face to face. Like, we don't do it for new business. We actually lose money every year. Now it's also because like we barely do sponsorship. We keep the prices low. So like, if we wanted to make money off it, we would do it differently. But it's more for the community side of like, see people in person, and it's like a great conversion tool. Like, if I went back to sales, I would use it the same way on the sales side, as like, do regular events just to have that in-person meetup with people. I think it goes a long way. I mean specifically at Buzz, at that one, when we had that dinner after, I got the opportunity to meet a lot of people and to talk to people in person. And it's so funny because online, and especially in places like Real Estate Hacks, you sort of envision what the person is like. You kind of have an idea of who they are, but it's not the same. It'll never be the same as being in person. It's a professional group, a little more guarded. Yes. Yeah. And it's written down. It's always funny. That's like the funniest part of conferences, is like when people kind of were like, all right, this is not saved anywhere. How they kind of like the subtle like, it's not even always big shifts, just like little shifts that people make, and it's a lot more fun. It's a lot more fun. People are a lot more, especially when the conference is over and you get to have drinks and stuff like that. But going forward, I mean, it's unfortunate everything that's happened with COVID, but going forward, I've kind of
said to myself, you know, I'm going to make an effort to go to more of these because it was a great experience. And, you know, it's a long day and you're talking to a lot of people and, you know, you've got a lot of cards in your hand at the end of the day, but it's nice. It's nice to see some people.
Wait till you get to the multi-day industry conferences.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a whole different game when you're trying to keep up with drinking and networking. And like, actually, we were talking about them like off air, the guys from Box Brownie. We always joke, like when we go to Inman in New York, that it's like, you're lucky, like you're ecstatic if you get a 4-hour sleep one night. Like there's conferences where like you get 4 hours total.
Really, like talking and networking and basically getting drunk. Is that the?
So
Yeah.
like, well, there's also differences. Like, so like him and I as vendors, it's a little bit different because like you as an agent could just sleep through the morning sessions where we had to like be up at booths or speaking. So like you wouldn't necessarily have to burn the candle at both ends unless there was like speakers you really wanted to see. But yeah, like what I found, like even for my business or for like an agent networking and just like learning from other people, you actually get more at the lobby bars and stuff like that generally, or just as much than these sessions themselves.
Yeah.
Like, and especially because like speakers will often end up at the lobby bar too. So like if someone says something really interesting, you can now go ask them questions about it.
Yeah.
So, like, that's where there's a lot of value too, of just, it's not just, hey, I'm gonna go network with people. It's like, hey, you said something interesting, but like the only way I'm gonna be able to implement it is a couple clarifications that I need.
Yeah.
And they'll provide it. But like I get like, there's a whole thing with Inman where it's just called lobby. I mean, a lot of conferences have it, like LobbyCon, which is you basically don't even get a ticket to the conference. You just go hang out in the lobby bar and wait for people.
That would be, you know, that might even be more. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And it's nice to like mingle and to speak with the speakers. And yeah, no, they're good. I blew them off for too long.
No. Well, it's good to like get the base of your business before you make that, because it also gets expensive, right? Like
totally
travel, hotels, drinks, food, childcare, like it all adds up. Like I, as much as I love conferences, it's been really nice being home for the year.
Oh
like,
yeah.
I'll probably get a lot more selective which conferences I go to. Because like before I was like, if you're willing to pay me, I will just go.
Yeah.
And I basically said yes to anything with a check. And I'm like, now I'm like, I don't know that I would anymore. Like I might just like pick and choose like a couple a quarter type of thing and go from there.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where I'm at too, you know, like pick the, like Buzz was great.
Yeah.
They do such a good job of that. So I think, yeah, picking and choosing. And
they bring it back. I highly recommend Banff Western Connection.
Oh yeah.
And so they do it every other year. So it's supposed to be this January coming up. Who knows now? But it's in Banff. So it's like 600, 700, 800 people at the Fairmont in Banff, and it's pretty good.
Really?
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of it is because you're in Banff. So it makes up for like, even if the speakers weren't great, which they were because I was one of them. But even if they weren't great, you're still in Banff. So before we jumped on, we both put up things to ask what questions people might have for you.
Yes.
So I have like a list of ones from hacks, from you, that you put up in your story, from my story. So we're going to run through a few of them.
Oh God. Okay.
This one's not so much a question as tell us something interesting. There's no context as to about what. So you can really go any direction you want with tell us something interesting.
Tell us something interesting. Oh my God. Okay, I'll share my hidden talent with you.
Deal.
It's lame. I don't know, some people find it impressive. I find it kind of lame, but I have the ability to hear a song only one time and know every single word to the song. Doesn't matter if it's like a rap song or, I mean, anything but country. I don't like country, but if it's like a top 40s type of thing or a rap, one time listen to it all the way through and it's stuck. I know every single word. I don't know what.
does that talent like go to any other forms of spoken word? Like, could you hear a presentation and just?
Oh, this is like the worst part about it. When it comes to like studying for an exam, or like even when I was studying for my broker exam, no, it doesn't work that way. I don't know, for whatever reason, I don't even have to like the song. I can just hear it, and I don't even really have to be paying full attention.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. So I guess that's an interesting.
Whatever the complete opposite of that talent is how I hear music. Like, I could hear a song a million times and be like, wait, what did it say? Like, I think just the other day I was in the car and my phone, like when it auto connects, will just pull a song out of my like history of music. And it pulled an Eminem song out that I had never listened to before. And my 2 and 3-year-old were in the car. And I'm like, pretty quick in the song, I was like, wait, my kids should not be here. And I'm like, I'd heard this song 100 times and I'd never thought about the words.
Yeah.
It's one ear out the other for me.
Yeah, we have that problem.
Yeah. So next question. Are your kids models?
Oh, this is from our friend Craig. No, they're not models. They're beautiful. They're models.
What percentage of agents actually know what they're doing?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. If I had to guess, I'd like to think that most agents know what they're doing. I mean, I don't know. It's probably like anything else, right? There's some that are good, some that are, I don't want to say bad, but like, some that are, maybe new or finding their way. I don't know. I guess
it really depends on what they mean by know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of successful agents who also don't know what they're doing, but kind of have a plan.
Yeah. And it's, I don't know. Do any of us really know what we're doing all the time?
Mostly just make it up as I go. Seems to work out.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Favorite pastime?
Fishing. I like fishing.
Easy. Yep. Favorite house you've sold or listed?
My favorite house I ever sold was 380 Yale. It was a back split in Oakville, and it was my favorite because they had me in. It was a flip, and they had me in at the very beginning of the project when everything was shit. And I stayed with them and kind of helped them along. I was very involved in that process of, choosing finishes and layout and stuff like that. And then once we were done, the sellers, they were cool with me shooting like a lifestyle video, something a little bit different, which we did. And it turned out really cool. We had it fully staged. It was gorgeous. So, that's definitely my favorite one. Sellers let me run with that one, which was cool.
All right. Weirdest thing you've ever seen or done during a showing?
Actually, there's something that I did at a showing, and I don't know. I keep thinking about it because the clients, to be honest with you, they never called me after this. And I don't know if I'm assuming it's not because of that, but we were going into a showing. It was late at night. It was like 8:00, and this was in the winter, so it's dark. And it was a semi-rural property. It was kind of creepy. Anyways, I pull up, my clients pull up, and, nobody really says anything about the creepiness, but that we're all feeling creeped out by this house. So I don't know why, but as I'm getting the key out of the lockbox in my head, I'm like, oh my God, it'd be so funny to scare them. So I don't know. I don't know if I should have done this, but whatever. So I open the door and it's like pitch black. So I open the door and I just let out like a screech right as I open the door. And I look behind me and there's like 5 of them, right? It's a family and they're all like, oh my God. And then I just started laughing. But they've never called me since then. So I don't know. I think about that all the time. I'm like,
is that your first showing with them?
No, we had built a rapport. Like I felt like it was new, but I don't know. I kind of, in situations like that, I always feel like you should just go for it. like go for the joke.
No regrets.
No regrets. Yeah. This is such a good opportunity. I know they're all standing behind me and they're scared shitless. I'm scared shitless. You know, might as well roll with it. So I don't know.
And then one day you're going to be like, the joke that cost me $20,000.
I think about it all the time. I mean, I'm sure that's not why.
I think at this point you should call them up and be like, what happened?
Is
this what did it?
Yeah.
That'd be a great, and you should record that call. Maybe do
Yeah.
it over Zoom. I think that'd be super fun.
Yeah.
So, I mean, luckily you said you worked in the conference stuff before real estate, like you did conference stuff. Because you've only been to one real estate conference. Because one of the things was, what's your weirdest conference story?
My weirdest conference story. Well, since that was the only one I was at, I'm trying to think. I mean, it's not really a story, but one thing that stands out to me about the Buzz conference is, you know how Andrew Perry was there and he had his video crew kind of taking shots, and I remember like when the final version came out and he posted it, and there's just like a shot of me jamming a muffin in my mouth. Like, I had just gotten to the conference, I was kind of late and I was starving, so I went right over to where all the, you know, all the snacks were, and anyway, so I ended up being in the video just like with a muffin. So
I mean, that probably doesn't rank in like top 10 best conference stories, but
that's the only thing that sticks out. I mean, I had a great experience. Nothing
that's a
weird.
good one. Yeah, well, let's come back after you've been to like 5 or 6 and we'll revisit that question. So why would no one want to post what they actually want to ask? What do they want to, so this from the Post in Real Estate Hacks, where they said, no one will actually post the real questions they want to ask you. So what questions do they want to ask you?
That, I don't know. I'm interested to know though, because I saw that and I'm like, what could it be?
Who killed her husband?
Yeah. I mean, everybody knows it was that bitch Carol. Everybody knows that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know. I'm interested to know though. I'm like, just ask. I'm a pretty open book. I'll just give you the answer.
All right. How do you do TikToks?
Okay. TikTok. Yes. I actually, to be honest with you, I deleted TikTok.
So the wrong person to probably ask then.
Well, I was TikTok famous for a hot second. I did one video and it got like 30,000 views or something like that. Yeah. But I kind of picked up TikTok during quarantine, and it was just sort of like, I like the funny TikToks, right? Like just the short sort of funny ones. And I don't know. I don't really understand TikTok, to be honest. I was just kind of on there having a good time. But I really enjoy though, like the people who are in real estate and who are using it for that. Like there's some people on there who are really killing it. And I don't know, like some of the property shots and some of the videos, and it's just well timed and they're really, really nice.
Yeah.
But I'm not
like the level of production quality that some of these really short videos have.
Me too.
I want to hire like a TikTok kid to do like my videos. Like
yeah, literally.
No
like
joke how well they're doing it.
You just need a teenager who knows TikTok, because even like, you know, the scene cutting and all of the music, like it's all, it's good.
They do a really good job. There's like, I could give them the strategy. Just be like, I want this done. Just let them do it.
Just run.
Yeah. So maybe that'll be my future of TikTok, is just hiring someone who's like 19.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Just
as long as they're legal drinking age, I think they'll fit in at the company. So we're good.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
We're good.
At 19.
Where did all the dinosaurs go?
Carol Baskin.
Which is amazing, because the next question was, actually, they must have submitted it wrong, because it was, who killed Carol Baskin? So it's almost like they're asking you to give a future question. So whoever submitted that one, I believe that was on my Instagram story. I'll have to look that up. You got it wrong. We know what they meant. We know what they meant. And then the next one, why are you the way that you are?
Michael. Why am I the way that I am? I don't know. Lots of reasons, I guess. What kind of question is that?
I'm just asking what's there. I said I would ask anything.
Oh man, yeah. Why am I the way I am? I don't know. My life experiences, and I don't know. I don't know. What a question. That's like too deep.
All right, Michael Jordan or LeBron?
Michael Jordan. Obviously.
That's what I thought about. Michael Jordan or Rodman? Not as best player, but as your like favorite.
Rodman. And I'll tell you why. I've been thinking about this a lot lately, about being authentic and about being, it's going to be deep for a minute, but about being yourself. And I've given a lot of thought to the people in my life who I respect the most, and what is the quality that they all have. And that's the answer, is that they're authentic to themselves at all times, no matter what. And so when we're comparing, Michael Jordan's work ethic and his competitiveness to Rodman, who, was also a very talented player, but he's just so authentic to who he is. And I think there's something that's so great about that. And it just sort of draws you in. And I mean, who doesn't love Rodman? Like, he's batshit crazy, but that's why we love him. So I think if we're talking about it in that sense, it definitely has to be Rodman for that reason.
What I love about him is he owns it. Like, there's no shame for him on like any of it. It's just, I am me. Deal with it.
Yeah, and I aspire for that. Like, I think we all struggle with that to some degree, but I think he just is like, here I am. Weird hair, weird earrings, wearing a dress, painted nails, whatever it may be. Like, it.
Gonna leave during the playoffs and spend 3 days in Vegas? Like, screw it.
I mean, he was dating Carmen Electra. Like, can you really? I mean,
yeah.
Probably thing. Like,
she's a draw.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't need money or anything, so.
No.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely. Yeah, get the iPhone 11. Honestly,
I have the 10 right now.
I've gotten so many nice photos on it, like just of my stuff. Like, it's honestly crucial. And even like for business, right? I mean, obviously I'm not going to be taking listing photos on it, but when you're doing like a moon or something like that, it's crucial.
But I think it's better than most, like, even like what a lot of photographers use. Like, I think people are really sleeping on the quality of the cameras now.
Totally.
Like, you could do with a professional photographer most real estate listing shoots now, especially if you just had like the fisheye lens and like a couple things like that.
Yeah.
You wouldn't need much more than that anymore.
No.
I mean, you still shouldn't do it, but just it's with the seller.
No, it is nice to have. It is really nice to have for the kids, but also like if you're doing a coming soon, like if you're leaving a listing appointment, you want to just snap a couple pictures for coming soon. Perfect.
It works.
Yeah.
So if people want to get a hold of you, ask you questions, send you a referral, how do they get a hold of you?
They would get a hold of me on Instagram at Karlyn Eacrett Real Estate, or email me at karlyn@karlyneacrett.ca. That would be the best way.
Where do you get more business, Instagram or Facebook?
Facebook.
By a large margin, or?
By a large margin, yeah.
If you took out agent-to-agent referrals, which one do you get more from?
Facebook.
Interesting.
Yeah. And just as a side note, I don't get a ton of agent referrals. Like, I get a few, but I think a lot of people think that it's like 90% of my business. It's definitely not. It's probably
this
like
is actually 20. What I was interested about from like the perspective of like, so you're admins with Jill and Andrew. They're both in areas without a lot of other people that are like common people to refer to. Yeah. So they get more from that. Plus they're in areas that like commonly have like secondary properties where people might just like go buy. Where you're in like one of the most competitive areas with a ton of people in it. Plus you don't talk about your areas as much as they do.
Right.
So like, I always figured if I had to guess, of the three of you, you would by far have the least agent-to-agent referrals.
Yeah.
just by
Yeah.
sheer nature of where you are.
Oh my gosh, my kids are.
They're getting home.
Yeah, they're. Okay, no, they're not coming. Hi, Frankie. Come here, honey. Oh, they're so happy to see me because I haven't seen you days. Hi, buddy. Come here. I'll let them say hi. Eat too much candy. Hi, Henry. So
Hi,
this is
buddy.
Say hi. And this.
How are you?
And this is Henry.
You were at Papa and Nana's?
Yeah. They
Yeah.
had
Was it fun?
Jordan.
Yeah, you're Jordan, buddy.
We are at our own house now.
You're at your own house now?
Yeah, house is blue.
Your house is blue. I love blue.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay, watch the courts. They're always like, "Who are you talking to?"
Yeah. Well, I will let you get to your family since you haven't seen them in a few days. So I'll do like a quick wrap up and then we're good.
Okay, cool.
Right. Sweet. So thank you everyone for tuning into this week, and stay tuned for the next episode when I'll figure out whoever that guest will be whenever I decide who that is. So thank you for tuning in, and reach out to Karlyn if you have a referral for Burlington area.
Awesome. Thanks, Sam. Appreciate it.